This is the Today with Tally podcast.
And with that, we are honored to be joined by Jenna Carlton with the Veteran Notebook. How are you, ma'am?
Hey, I'm doing great today. How are you doing, Brian?
You know, it's been a long time coming. I got to say, look, I want to say it's been at least 1.5 to 2 years. We crossed paths, I believe, Reese Across America Radio with our podcast, right?
Yes. Oh, great. I miss the whole family there. They're great people.
Indeed. Now, you are a U.S. Navy veteran.
Yes, I am.
And you ran the Millennial Veteran podcast. Now, what year did you go into the Navy?
2013, right after I graduated.
2013. Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
I got out in 99.
Wow.
Yeah. Gray.
Yeah, I was 99. I was 5.
Holy cow. Wow. So what did you do in the Navy?
I did weather, meteorology, oceanography.
Wow. What was that like?
It was, I didn't really like it. Otherwise, I probably would have stayed in a little longer. But really, I would just, my job, I was on an aircraft carrier, was to tell pilots what the flight levels were at, what the wind speeds were so they could take off, and what the wave heights were. We were in the Arabian Gulf, so it was kind of the same thing every day.
Were you ever, when you were 5, were you inspired to become like the next weatherman or what? I mean,
No, I wanted to do intel in the Navy, and I got in trouble right before I left for boot camp, and I got underage drinking. So they said, okay, you can't do intel because it was a 6-year, I would have gotten a top secret clearance. So then they said, well, this is available. And I was like, sure, just anything. I need to still go,
Got in trouble. Well, Navy, drinking, cussing, sailor stuff.
Yep. It was
Some things just never change. It doesn't matter what year it is, right? It's just what you do, in the Navy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that kind of.
I really wouldn't expect anything less.
Yes.
So atta girl.
Yeah.
You get out of the Navy and you go to work, and this is what really jumped out at me. You went to Congress. And you did an internship with the House VA committee because you wanted to see if you could perhaps invoke some positive change, just getting out of the Navy. You're a veteran. You want to get involved. You want to see how bills are written and laws are passed and what you could do with some influence to go in there with your own experience. Now, what was that part of your life like?
It was, I wasn't sure I really held on to the title veteran yet. I was maybe 25, 24, and, just being so young and only doing 4 years, I didn't feel veteran. But then when I worked there and, I was answering the phones a lot, and you had Vietnam era veterans calling, and they'd be like, hey, I just want to talk to someone else who've served. And even though my experience was nothing like theirs, they just felt camaraderie talking to another veteran. So, yeah, it was a really eye-opening experience for me.
I definitely wouldn't discount your service and the time you spent in 4 years or, a week. You served your country, and, you did what less than 1% of the country does. So you got to be proud of that. That is, honor, courage, commitment, the same hallmarks that we all serve under. So you did a great job doing that. And don't ever sell yourself short on that, because you served and put your time in, and you are a veteran, and you can carry that with you for the rest of your life. And as your legacy will live on. And is there something that you learned while you interned that summer in the House VA committee? Any good things to take away? What sort of bad things did you encounter, or was it just a great summer?
Yeah, I learned a lot about how our government works, how bills get passed, and how it's kind of a big thing on who, which party is able to sign the bill or push it over, even though they both want to help the same thing. And luckily, like veteran issues are really bipartisan, so both parties usually can come together on them. But there's still the games of, okay, well, this was our sponsor bill, this was ours, like which senator, which congressman wanted to be able to pass it. So there's a lot of my name's on this, so sort of thing. But a lot of the good things were, just really learning about veteran benefits and how to communicate with veterans and help them.
It's very true. I've had 5 bills introduced in Congress since late 2017, and I can tell you, my second champion in Congress on HR 3813 was Congressman Mark Meadows. Now, Congressman Mark Meadows was a Republican, and he was a firecracker in Congress, and he didn't get along with any Democrats. And no Democrats wanted to sign on to this completely nonpartisan bill.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I had to do is I had to go to the Democrats and say, create your own version then. And that's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not always looking after the best interests of the veteran and the veteran community, because it is all politics. Yeah. If they were to sign on to this guy's bill, his constituents are going to say, no, what are you doing working with that guy?
Yeah.
And so I had to play the adult in the room a lot of the times to bring these folks together and say, guys, look, dude, work for the good of the country for once. I mean, just work for the good of the country, have good faith, and sit down and agree to disagree and compromise and do whatever you have to do at the table. But let's get this job done. You don't have to sit here and grandstand and say, well, I don't like him because of his take on X, Y, and Z. Well, X, Y, and Z doesn't have anything to do with this bill and for protecting the rights of all veterans. Mm-hmm. So you need to come to the table and sign on to this bill and be a champion on that other side. But they just wouldn't do it. So I said, okay, let's start over again and let's create your own version on the Democrats. And then I had to take it to the Republicans and say, sign on to this, so it's like, dude, it's a game and it's a messy one.
It is. It really is. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And then a lot of people don't understand how it works. And they're like, why is this taking so long to pass? And I'm like, if it even does pass,
There are so many bills that die in Congress. Look, you got a 2-year period. That's it. You got 2 years. You have 1 year to work, and then you have 1 year to get reelected.
Yeah.
And that's what folks don't understand. I mean, the congressional terms, 2 years. I think that those terms should be at a minimum 3 years. But I would just say keep it at 4.
I agree with that.
And I'm fine with the U.S. Senate being 6-year terms, but I sincerely believe that Congress, House should be 4 years.
Yeah, it's hard. There is a lot of turnover too in DC. So the job security also, if you're working for the Democrats and then they don't have control, so many people are out of work and you can't just switch sides that easily. So,
yeah, and unfortunately I've been to DC far too many times, and it's like, you literally can't go anywhere in DC. Sit down at the Dubliner, and the guy's going to say, what team are you on?
Wow.
Come on, man. Oh, yeah. It always, dude, that happens all the time. So what
crazy.
So what team you play for? And it's, and they're talking left and right. It's like, can I just enjoy my whiskey?
Yeah. Right.
But everything's politics. Everything's political. That's just the way it is. All right. It's just the way it is. So look, I brought you on. I want to talk about the Veteran Notebook, what it means to you and what inspired you to sit down and put pen to paper and say, I'm going to create the Veteran Notebook.
Oh, yes. Actually, it is the Veteran Workbook, but it's like...
Hey, look, I'm Marine, right?
Right. No, I've had the veteran handbook, everything, so this is just giving me ideas for future versions of it, so I like it.
The notebook.
Yeah, yes, yes.
All right, pick it back up again. I want to see that beautiful thing. The veteran workbook. All right, what does it say below it?
So it is the tool to help you reflect on your service and design your future by building structure and redefining who you are today.
That could be extremely valuable for literally anybody with a heartbeat, not just veterans. I mean, that could be for anybody. I mean, just writing down things is very powerful. And when you go back and reflect on them, even after 3 or 4 days, you can say, okay, I achieved that little goal. I achieved that little goal. So tell me about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anyone going through a big transition, that's what it talks about a lot. How you pictured your life when you were getting out versus what it is today. And how can you build a bridge between it? Or maybe you need to reevaluate what you even want to do based on your circumstances, family. It goes into your whole identity. You were tied with the military. And that was like a big deal for me when I got out. I was so lost. I'm like, who am I without the military? And I didn't think I would go through that. So it just walks you through a lot of those questions we had when we were getting out, and guiding you by asking you questions.
So identity, right? There's a lot of veterans that get out and they all of a sudden are facing this identity crisis.
Mm-hmm.
How could your book, the Veteran Workbook, come into play and really, is it a blueprint to perhaps living a successful life after service, or at least giving you a couple of the starting blocks, a couple of the first stepping stones to put things in motion to begin your life after service?
Yeah, I would say it's a tool. It's gonna just help you normalize what you're going through. I think that's a big problem. Everyone thinks that it's a me problem. Why can't I do this? But it's something we all kind of go through when we get out, no matter how long we served. It's a transformation period. So it's just a tool to help you talk about it, and a lot of us, we're not ready to talk to someone else about it. We don't have the words. So this gives you the words to do that.
So what are some of the most, what do veterans come to you the most with? Like are they worried about, the future, about what their job may look like, family, like what are they going to do when they get, like, what do they come to you the most with and say, I need help with this?
Yes, I think in our Facebook group, sometimes people just need to be validated. They feel lost, they feel unsure, they feel like they had everything laid out in front of them in the military, and then they're getting out and they're like, I don't know which way to turn, I don't know how to use this resource. A lot of navigating the VA sort of questions. And then I have other people that are like, I'm thinking about reenlisting. How do I handle these feelings? What's a good idea for me? It really varies.
So you talk about this Facebook group. Elaborate on that.
Yes. So the Millennial Veterans is a Facebook group, and we have all sorts of different chats, from parenting to traveling to hobbies, VA loan, anything, you name it. People are in there talking about it.
And so people can just go on Facebook, just type in the Millennial
Veterans. Yep.
And then you have different branches of the groups, or is it just one big group and you talk about all these different?
Yes. So
topics?
It's one big group, and then there's different chats. There's about, I want to say 15 to 20 different chats.
I've never seen a group like that actually branches off into chats. And is it like a chat room or what?
Yeah, if you go into the chats, there's all these different chat rooms. Actually, we have a Texas entrepreneurs chat too. There's Arizona, there's different states in there. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I want to talk more about the workbook. I really do. I want to know one, I want to know how veterans can get it, and two, like open up the pages and tell me a little bit about it.
Sure, I'd love to.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So it's available on Amazon. If you're going to search it, you're going to have to type in my name, Jenna Carlton, the Veteran Workbook, under authors, because Amazon won't let me search it yet. So it's broken down into 42 themes. Here's the table of contents. So 42 different themes, and you don't have to do this in order. The first two kind of talk about when you're going to be doing the workbook daily. And then a lot of them talking about, we have deeper subjects like forgiving yourself, unnumbing after service. What is the story you're telling yourself? Really diving into your psyche, your thoughts. And then some of them are just fun, like let's get weird, what really matters, how do you deal with stress, sort of stuff. But the 4 different categories are structure, redefining yourself, reflecting on service, and then planning your future.
Tell me those again.
It is structure, redefining yourself, reflection of service, and planning for the future.
That almost sounds like a BAMSIS in the Marine Corps: begin plan, arrange plan, make plan, complete plan, issue orders, and supervise. It's very, I like the, in military structure, and you broke it down here very well. When did you put this workbook together?
This was 2023, June 12th.
It's very new.
Yeah, I've had it out for 2 years. And on Amazon, it's only $10. I made it very cheap. I just wanted to get it out there, but I am looking to republish it and maybe make it like a spiral notebook, because a lot of my older veterans said they were having a hard time keeping it open with this sort of binding. So I'd like to do a spiral one, something more user friendly. And in Amazon, you can't do that. You can't publish like that on there.
So have you gotten a lot of feedback? Any success stories from your workbook?
Yes. Yeah. I have people reach out to me probably once a week saying they're doing it. It's really helping them. It's just getting them in the routine of writing, which is so therapeutic in itself. It's really deconstructing yourself and your thoughts, and just having a nice time to yourself when you're unplugged and not have a screen in front of you, like we were talking about earlier. There's nothing like putting pen to paper.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's where things get done. I'm just so old school. Like, of course, kids these days, they don't do pens and papers, but I do. I need to be able to see it, touch it, feel it. Okay. This is what's going on. Because it's very simple and quick. On the phone, what they do is very simple and quick to them, but to me, it's like, okay, I'm just hitting buttons. I'm doing, and to me, it's just too time consuming. I want it done now. I want instant gratification on this paper, and I got to jot down my notes right now, because my mind's what I'm thinking is only going to last for so long.
Yeah.
And I can't be typing it out on there. I need to just write it down and get that thought. Like, I keep a pad of paper and a pen on my nightstand.
Yes, me too.
2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning, 4:00 in the morning is when some of my best thoughts will just it'll wake me up. I'm like, oh wow. And I'll write it down. And I've gotten pretty good at writing. Like, I close my eyes and then I write it. And so, it's not the best penmanship, but I could still read it in the morning, because I don't need it to be perfect. I just need it to be like, oh yeah, that's what I said.
Yep.
And then it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can rewrite it when you get up and have that cup of coffee and say, dude, I got to put this into motion right here, because this woke me up.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's a calling almost.
So when you put this book together, like, how long did it take you to sit down and put that pen to paper and create this?
It did. I'd stay up late when my kids were in bed, my husband was sleeping, and I organized it all on Google Docs, and I knew I wrote out the 42 themes before I even wrote the questions, and I knew what I wanted to do. And I would add themes here and there through conversations on the podcast, or just seeing, okay, maybe we need to talk about this too. Other veterans are really struggling with this. And then, I had someone help me make it a PDF so you can upload it to Amazon. I mean, anyone can publish a book nowadays. So it was a really fast process.
Anybody? So are the themes like chapters? Is that kind of like how it's broken down?
Yeah, it's like each theme could be a week. There's about 6 to 7 different sections per theme. But I mean, if you're in the flow state and you're feeling it, just go through it. That's why I didn't want to have day 1, day 2, just so you can do it whenever you feel like it.
So you're giving homework.
Yes.
So this is an assignment book.
It is. There's little challenges in there too.
Is there coloring?
There isn't, but that would be cool for the next version. I like that.
I mean, I'm just trying to give you some ideas.
Yes, I know. I really like that. I'm going to write that down.
Coloring. Oh, wow.
Why
That's
not?
awesome.
When you're designing your future, you want to add color.
Look at that. Think tank.
Yes.
So what's next for you, Jenna?
That's the big question, right? As I'm turning in my CAT card tomorrow from my government job, I've been thinking that a lot. I'm taking a business class at Syracuse, maybe taking my workbook a little more seriously. I'm also applying to other jobs, kind of dipping my toe into digital marketing. So got a lot going on, but.
So you're leaving your job tomorrow?
Yes, I'm turning in, all my equipment and everything.
So you're like, hey, take this job and shove it. I'm gonna work for myself.
Yes, that's how I feel. I did take the deferred resignation, so I have until September 30th. I'll actually still get paid, which is, a nice transfer period. But eventually I need to find that income again.
So are you one of the folks that are getting their jobs cut because of the whole Doge thing? Okay.
Yes.
So what's that been like?
It's been a mess. It's been very stressful, especially February, just finding out I'm losing my job. And for my family, it's been like, what am I going to do? I've been applying to a lot other jobs and not getting anything back. So it's a tough job market right now.
Well, I'm sorry that you are one of the ones that are going to be losing your job. Now, what exactly do you do? Like, what are they cutting? Like, I mean, did you work for USAID or?
Yeah, I worked for Department of Defense. I was a Navy civilian. All right. I am still a Navy civilian technically. And I did contract specialist. So a lot of procurement, that sort of stuff.
So, I mean, that doesn't seem like the jobs that they are actually cutting right now. I mean, I mean, of course, I don't know really too much about it other than what's on the surface, on what's reported. But I didn't know that they're actually going into the DoD as well and cutting DoD jobs. I thought it was just more of the trimming the fat around all of these big time, cash conglomerates that the federal government's been backing for so many years with no checks and balances. But I didn't know that they're actually going procurement, DoD, and wow.
Yeah. They had an aim of a certain amount of percentage they wanted to cut. That's what the defense secretary said. And so they put out this DRP. They're putting out early retirement, trying to get people to take it. But honestly, like my team and where I work, there's going to be like an imbalance, there's going to be my workload's going to be passed on to someone else. It's going to be tough for them because they also have a hiring freeze. So
you are going to be using your own workbook.
Yes. Yeah, I have used it. I've gone through the whole thing and I think I need to do it again because I'm retransitioning again.
This is like biblical. You're like, look, I get out of the military. I'm going to put together a workbook to help other veterans. And I'm comfortable. I've got my job. I've got a podcast. I'm now an author. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a veteran doing everything right. And then I find myself life hitting me. Now I'm losing my job. Now I've got to help myself through something that I've created. And that right there, to me, that's almost like now I need to go through this again because perhaps the second time around, see, when you did it the first time, you were a veteran. Now you're a civilian and you're going through it with completely different circumstances. So in order for you to really gain that not only notoriety, but the experience, the life experiences behind it, you need to go through it. You need to be in the trenches. So in 10 years, you could be speaking to massive audiences, telling them the story that you're getting ready to embark on this journey. And without that, what good is the workbook? You got to put it into actual motion and say, it works. And let me tell you why.
Wow, I'm fired up now. I just had to write that down because I think that'll be my next piece of content I make.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's face it, right?
Yeah,
life is life. I mean, we all, it's just dot connecting, like the workbook, right? Dot connecting, coloring.
It is, yeah. And I went through that period of just feeling bad for myself and like, why me? And I'm over that right now. I'm just like, I need to move on and focus on what's next.
That's normal. That's normal. The whole why me and I'm upset, the anger and all that, that's all normal. Going through the motions of life and the turbulence, the ups, the downs, the ebbs and the flows. And again, that's just part of the journey. But if you would have stayed in the same place and just become really comfortable, I mean, right now you're operating out of your comfort zone. And what they say is that life doesn't really begin until you're outside of that comfort zone. So right now, everything you do is part of that journey. You are preparing yourself for what you're about to go through, but you have something to look back on and to fall back on. And that's the veteran workbook that you created, completely not knowing that you would really need this one day. And perhaps you could even make two. You've got the civilian one, you got the veteran one. One can have different language in it, one that the veteran population will understand. And now going through it as a civilian, you can use that different language and speak to civilians directly and say, look, as a mom and as a wife. And over here, you're like, hey, I was, getting out of high school. I joined the Navy and so you got two different avenues there, man. Look, speaking is big time because there's so many people out there that are always looking for avenues to go down. And a lot of folks are too scared to go down those avenues alone. So if they know that a Jenna Carlton has gone down this same avenue that they want to go down and you tell them about it, they're going to do it. Or at least they're going to try to do it. But that's where the inspiration and the encouragement and all that other stuff comes into play. And that's where stories are very important to be told. That's why we all have a story and it's all worth being told because you never know who you're going to reach and how you're going to affect that person's life in a positive way. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's so true. And whenever you feel bad for yourself and you're not doing anything, you got to realize like that's part of your story. It's only going to make you stronger when you go through hardships.
And you got your family behind you. You got your kids watching and they're rooting on mama.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah. I'm going to give you the last word, Jenna. You got veterans out there that are going through some hard times that, they just, seem that they're, taking 2 steps forward and 10 steps back and they're sinking in quicksand and they just can't seem to find their way in this world. at their service, what type of encouragement or perhaps even some life advice can Jenna offer up today?
I would say know that you're not alone, and know that, get out into your community, find an event close to you, whether it's a veteran event or, maybe a town hall meeting. Just get out and see what's in your community, because we see all this bad stuff on the news, but, there's great people right next door that are wanting to make your community better. And if you're a veteran, there's going to be workshops, there's going to be free anything for you online. So just try to get involved, put yourself out there. I know it's outside the comfort zone, but like Brian said, that's where we grow. So try to get an event on your schedule for this month and just try it.
Just baby steps. Sometimes just leaving the house, interacting with other folks, getting a meal, going to the park and just walking around. Like me, I like to get outside and walk. I look at the birds, I look at the leaves on the trees. I do things that I never used to do 20, 30 years ago, because life is so fast and it goes by in a blink of an eye. My little girl just turned 16.
Oh my goodness.
Yesterday. And that's my youngest.
Is she driving?
Yeah. It's freaky. I mean, it's scary. Talk about anxiety, but but I have a 26-year-old, I have a 22-year-old, I have, a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old. But that's my baby. She wasn't supposed to. I told her, you can't get older than this age right here. I think I told her that at like 6.
Yes.
And here we are 10 years later. And I'm like, baby girl.
I know. It's hard.
Can't do this, and now, you care about somebody so much. It's like, you don't want to let go. And now they're driving in these insane streets in Houston, Texas. It's like your heart's just racing. You got that anxiety. And see, that's what I suffer from, the anxiety piece in life. And it's been that way for such a long period of time.
Yeah.
But, I've learned to help manage it, but still it's very, very difficult for me. And I'll never completely get rid of it, because it's in my blood and I can't help it. I've done everything I can, because it's like when you care, I don't know. It's just that whole, when you care about things and people more than life itself, you're always going to have that type of feeling, within your body and within your blood. And, it's who you are. I mean, it's, it's who you are. So Jenna, thank you so much for joining us today. You added so much value to so many people out there. Folks, go to Facebook and type in the Millennial Veteran, and you can explore a bunch of different groups and a bunch of different chats that Jenna and her team have put together. And also look to Jenna as, hey, look, this is somebody I can lean on. I'm going through the same things that she's going through right now. I want to get into that group, and I want to start to partake in some of the conversations. Perhaps I've already done this and I can offer up my encouragement and my advice, or, hey, dude, I'm in the quicksand right now and I need help, and I'm going to go there and I'm going to learn a bunch of stuff. So there's so many ways that you can contribute to what's going on. And also go on Amazon and type in the Veteran Workbook, and also type in Jenna Carlton's name. It'll populate. Folks, it's $10. I mean, and this is a workbook that could change your life. Did you ever think that $10 can turn into $100,000 a year? I mean, in your job, you start putting that stuff together and it all starts to just come together, and you're like, and that workbook was really good. And it really gave me what I needed. It was the keys I needed to get in my vehicle, start it up and get down that road. And the map is the blueprint, and the blueprint is the Veteran Workbook. Jenna, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the Today with Tally podcast.